Hello, Dota 2 fans, and welcome. I'm casting the right replay this time. Just to give you some background, I loaded up the wrong one, got like 5 minutes into it before I realized there are very similar heroes and names in that game. And then, well, the realization that I was casting the same game came when I saw a play that I think I remember criticizing pretty heavily. And the other one, I was like, oh, okay. But that doesn't matter much to you guys. Anyway, we're coming into this game. It looks like it's going to be a fun one. So without further ado, let's get rolling for the Dire team. We've got Twist 7 on the Darkseer with Palaray picking up the Weaver, Skittling Scoot with 1-1 on the Enigma. Looking at dying, hopefully not dying too often on the Windranger, and Takasan on the Timber Saw. Meanwhile, for the Radiant side, it is going to be Awakening on the Anti-Mage with 64 picking up the Rubik. Samson is going to be playing everyone's favorite hero, the Techies, while LP Lord is on the Lone Druid. And last but certainly not least, Fenheza. There we go. He's going to be on the Invoker. So looks like we're looking for a couple of combos coming out. The main one I think we're going to be seeing is the Vacuum Black Hole for the Dire team, whereas the Radiant, well, they have a bunch of heroes that individually work, but nothing major as far as combos go. There's the one-man combo on the Invoker, but everyone else just does their own thing. Techies, dropping with some heavy burst magical with his mines, the Mage blinking back and forth, trying to clean up the supports, whereas the Sniper Druid is going to be looking to just right-click through and through. So it's going to be really difficult for the Enigma to get those black holes just because of that. The way you really want to play this kind of bait out a hero, get everyone to focus that guy down, and then go in with a huge vacuum and follow up after that. But Dying going to get first blood on the bottom lane. The Telekinesis catching her a little bit off guard, going around the bend, and of course the Anti-Mage dropping down the mana to the point where, the Windwalk really couldn't work out for her. So Awakening with that first blood is going to skyrocket his farm already now at 600 gold a minute into the game. That early perseverance is pivotal for the Anti-Mage. Keeps him in the lane, keeps him farming, and allows him to blink rather religiously. Doesn't have to hold on to his spells too much. So Fenheza might have a bit of trouble in this mid lane. It's a Timbersaw tends to be one of the more difficult heroes for an Invoker to have to deal with, just because the Invoker's damage output isn't quite enough to burn through the reactive armor that comes out until, you get that second talent where you have the 2 Forge Spirits dropping out the armor, and then maybe even going for something like a Medallion of Courage just to help spam a bit of spells and go for some of that extra damage could be the difference in this lane. But for right now, once Takasan hits level 6, I imagine we'll be seeing a very quick kill in this lane going the way of the Timbersaw. I mean, yeah, at the moment, look at that. He's taken a right click from a full, Exhort Invoker. Is not that impressive at the moment with level 1 Exhort, but the WWE SmackDown. Oh, we actually have a Timber Chain in, and Fenheza is in a bit of trouble here. Takasan is just going to go for another chain, catch him with the Chakram, or rather the Whirling Death. The Chakram is the ultimate. Not quite there yet, but that's the first blood, so didn't even need the Chakram to get that kill, which we figured was going to happen, just probably not that soon. Very difficult for the Invoker to come back from a situation like that. Meanwhile, we have Palaray looking to dive in deep for the Lone Druid Spirit Bear, but it's not really going to work out for him as the resummon comes out, and now the bear is at full HP and ready to roll. So with a 1-1 game right now, looks like we're going to see maybe a little more aggression on the Windranger, but it's just going to be 64 trading hits for now. There is a Fade Bolt coming through. Couple more to follow up, but Dying is not going to go down that easily. Just going to wait it out for now. I think they really wanted that Telekinesis, but the Rubik not quite holding on to his mana there. Does he? What's coming out to him on the Courier? A couple of Clarities. Okay, no, never mind. The neutral's no longer aggro. I think at one point it was if the neutrals were pulled and didn't see the enemy that pulled them, they'd hit the Courier, but I don't know. Perhaps I'm either going crazy or that was so long ago it doesn't really matter. But game progressing pretty much as expected here, with the mid lane going the way of the Timbersaw. The bottom lane favoring the Anti-Mage's farm quite a bit. In the jungle, we have the Mighty Enigma powering through these creep camps very effectively. He's got the Soul Ring and level 4, almost 5 right now. He's doing great. 25 last hits to his name. His net worth is probably among the highest here, going for the Hand of Midas, actually. Not typically a spell or an item you see Jungle Enigmas go for, but this will get his experience up very quickly and allow him to get these talents, which are so huge for an Enigma. I mean, we're talking about the 15% cooldown reduction at level 15, and movement speed in the early game is great, but even the magic resistance could be very good against someone like the Invoker. So, got a Weaver diving in for the Spirit Bear, but he's gonna have Savage Roar potentially in a couple of levels. Holding off on it for now, though. It does help him when they dive deep into him, especially this Weaver who loves to go in with the Scoochie and get behind him. A Savage Roar would send him all the way back, and whether or not he had an Iron Shell, I mean, that just stops the aggression dead in its tracks and allows a Lone Druid time to escape or just kind of hang out and continue farming. Really, the main plan there is to just buy some time. If things are going to continue going south, gives time for your allies to TP in. If not, you still kept yourself alive. Anything after that point is just a bonus. So take another look down to Dying on the bottom lane. Looks like he wants to be going in for those phase boots, settling for a Bastley for now. That's the Ring of Basilisk, giving him some extra armor and mana regeneration, allowing him a little more of a chance to survive if they jump him. But really, the essence is if he's low on mana and gets hit twice, he's going to be out and not able to run away. Something that's interesting about anti-mages nowadays is usually what you do if you were an anti-mage that's free farming, you'd go 1-1-1, and then the rest is stats. And the farming speed you could achieve with that used to be brutally fast. Now, you kind of have to go in for the extra points and mana break, which is not bad. I mean, it's kind of a power that the anti-mage had that no one really utilized because of the power of the stats. But now that it's gone, and you see the anti-mage is not able to scale up the stats through that change in the recent patch, the multiple points and the mana break. I left this one too soon. I didn't think anyone was going to happen, so I backed away from it. One's actually going to go in for the return kill. Don't black hole. Don't. Well, they get the kill, which is a Pyrrhic victory for a black hole spin. That was not necessary. You want that first black hole to be game-changing or lane-changing. You want to go and you want to catch someone like the anti-mage, or you want to get a 2-kill in the mid lane for a gank to come in or something like that. But a support that's rolling through your jungle, all he really needed to do was Malefice stun, which he doesn't have, so understandable, and then wait for the Timbersaw to come in. But, black hole spent. They get a kill off of it, barely, so you can chalk that one up for somewhat of a win. But I think I was finishing up a point on the anti-mage here. Mines, of course. But now that he's got the multiple points and mana break, I know we're going all the way back. And you're like, wait, what was he talking about before? I have no idea. But all the way back, the extra points and mana break is still very strong, especially when dealing with offlaners. And the farming speed you can get out of it isn't all that bad, considering mana break does a lot of damage to creeps. Most of them, get this, have mana. So, Samson will get avenged, or at least will taste the bitter side of revenge as the Weaver goes ahead and brings him down. This is actually a Medallion of Courage Weaver. I like this a lot. I think Weavers typically don't build this because it's not exactly a carry item, and Weavers tend to be more of a high farming priority hero. But when playing a more supportish role, the combination of a Medallion of Courage and the Swarm is about as good as a Dazzle. And you don't even need level 6 to get it. But, well, That is, if you skill it before level 6. If not, then you do need level 6 and higher to get it. But for now, we're sitting 3-4 in this game, and Chakram does get stolen by the Rubik. Now, Polari moves in. Looks like he wants to try to get some damage on the Samson again, but finds Fanheza. And one Gemini attack, and that is it. So Fanheza is not going to die here. Not even going to taste too much damage. Samson in a bit of trouble. Maybe is able to get the pop out on the remote mines, but the launch comes out. He gets the deny, and the swarm is chasing him through the air as now Takasan moving in for Fanheza. They've got the Chakram out. It's only going to hit on the entrance. In comes the chain, but not quite enough. Awakening, killing, dying in the other lane as they're looking still for this Invoker. They get him just barely. And the rest is history. So the Invoker does go down, Samson as well, but he was the deny. And the top lane, or the bottom lane, dying will get dropped by Awakening. It looks like Mana Void was used for that one. And now the Anti-Mage, the Battle Fury, won't be coming out to him just yet. Though he does have the Broadsword. All he needs is the Claymore now. About 1,000 gold off from this item at 10 minutes. But they've got some damage coming through the Medallion of Courage. They've also got the Shackle connecting, but the power shot did not. So Awakening will hold into the side here as the Perseverance pulls him back up to a decent amount of HP. He'll have Mana Void up soon, and this could be trouble. Blinking on top of the Weaver. 1-2 punch. This might be a kill for him, but he's got to be very careful about it. Dying could be proving to be a bit too much for him as he'll go in. 1, 2. Maybe. No, Palare will stay alive as Takasan elsewhere brings down the Rubik. So Anti-Mage still holding fast in his side here. Will end up blinking away as Palare is there. Remembers how much damage that this Weaver can do, so better safe than sorry getting out of there and working on his Battle Fury elsewhere as Samson now getting vacuumed in. The Ion Shell is down. The remote mine looking for the deny. Doesn't get it off. Gets some sizable damage out onto the Darkseer, but the last couple of auto attacks coming the way of the Eidolons. And the Techies will fall in the top lane. 2 enemy units rather than himself. Meanwhile, LP Lord working in for the Maelstrom. It's going to have it very soon as the Bear just sitting on an Orb of Venom and a Stout Shield. Not sinking a lot of net worth in this Bear, which is pretty typical of this build. The Lone Druid doesn't exactly need the Bear to have too much. He just needs the Bear to tank up, especially in the early game, send him up onto the high ground, eat the tower hits while he burns it down. But the one downside is the Bear can be an essential 300 gold out of nowhere as Fanheza moves in, got a Meteor, but it's a little off the mark. The burn damage still connects and hits for a couple of ticks on the Weaver, which procs the Cold Snap, but that's about it. They're not able to do anything major to this Weaver, and, well, they'll back away. It's looking like a pretty slow game for the early parts. I mean, we've had 11 kills, but nothing major, just a couple of picks here and there. No plays, no multi-man ganks, just some individual movement, some farming, and that's nearly it. 64 has his level 8, looking to steal something, but not able to find anything worthwhile. I think barely catches a glimpse of the Darkseer, but that's about it. Meanwhile, 1-1 has got his black hole up, the second one to be used this game if he can find a good target for it. Perhaps even a solo Rubik. But he's got to be careful because the Rubik does not die. Stealing the black hole and turning around on him could be a major problem here. So it looks like 64 is going to go ahead and try to bowl away from this one as they've got the Midnight Pulse. One is afraid to pop the black hole this time, though. Still wants 64, but if he pops it now, he just gets destroyed by remote mines. They catch 2 of them, and Samson will get a double kill in the top lane. Meanwhile, the Wind Ranger's coming in looking for 64. The power shot does connect, and now Samson gets cleaned for Dying's own double kill and a bit of revenge for the slaughter that happened not just 5 seconds ago. So Dying holding top. After that double, we'll see a lot of gold his way. Meanwhile, Awakening still off that Battle Fury. We saw him not long ago pretty much had it in the bag, and now it feels like he's slowed down immensely after that point. Whether or not he's farming, it looks like the jungle is being cleared by LP Lord, so he's got no outlet to pour his aggressions into and no creeps to eat his right clicks, so he's not going to have the Battle Fury coming in as fast as he would have hoped. Meanwhile, Awakening, just so much damage from this Weaver, continuing to get chased here. 2 points and the Blink, but Polare will go for the backtrack there, allowing him to get away. And it's the time lapse, right? Yeah. What? I wanted to say it so bad, but I'm like, no, that's Faceless Void spell. No, it's Time Walk. Sometimes I surprise even myself. Animage will pull out the Battle Fury and look for the Power Treads now, and a lot later than I think he would have hoped, but Fereza is going to get pulled back, drops down a Sunstrike, but it's not quite enough. Dying will have a triple, essentially, but it shows as a killing spree, as the other two happened a long time ago, but that is a lot of gold for this Wind Ranger. Now, all of a sudden, 2,300 gold will put him in for that Maelstrom, when only slightly behind, it seems, the Lone Druid, who has his Maelstrom at the ready, and will be going in for the Dragonlance. As Rubik stealing Windwalk, trying to chase down Dying. Needs a couple more right clicks. The Black Hole! Oh no, again for 64. And doesn't even connect this time. He's got a Windwalk in 1 second. How is he going to get it? He needs to, but it looks like the stuns will be enough. Slows him down for the Weaver to catch up, and then 1 or 2 hits, and that is it. Meanwhile, Fereza gets the kill onto Takasan. Elsewhere on the map, I'm imagining to a Sunstrike. It's a 2 for 2 across the map fighting. As now Fereza goes in for the Tornado EMP, catches Twist, and Awakening looking to close this one out, but not going to find anyone of use. Meanwhile, Palare, they've got the Medallion of Courage off onto Awakening, but he'll back away. The Invoker was not able to make any last-second attempts. That is a Bloodstone on Samson. As far as first item goes, I don't think I've seen this one on a Techies, but regardless, there is going to be the Telekinesis up 1-1. Looking to try to do some damage on the 64, but there is a Scoochie stolen. The 64 will now chase down the Weaver. Some right clicks off, time lapse back, and that is the end of that. But still the Rubik, having stolen Scoochie, has a stun from Invis. They've got the Sentry Ward down, but he walks outside of it. Now 64 continuing to move around, look to see if he can get the Weaver off guard. Low on mana, has 2 Scoochies left before he's out, but he will shrine up, and that'll be enough. Meanwhile, the catch out 64 catching 1-1. There is going to be a Malefice out, but Meatball flies, and Twist catching the Cold Snap and the burn damage. Now Smackdowns, WWE for the Alacrity, but it's not quite enough damage. He does get brought down by Palare, who actually brought down 64. 1-1 gets the kill there, and now the Lone Druid here pops in with the Savage Roar, turns around, maybe, no, he's got Samson close by as Takasan is on the chase, but it looks like Samson's the only one that seems to be in trouble as the Wind Ranger dying elsewhere to the Anti-Mage. So, well, dying, but Samson does go down. And that is that. With the Techies falling and a 16-8 lead now, the Radiant are looking very strong in this early game. A lot of dominant plays and some good positioning. But they've got to be careful still. The Radiant can pull this one back. They have the heroes to do so. As the Lone Druid Spare, couple right clicks off is all he can get. Palare bringing down 64, who was in no man's land, and grabs himself a Desolator in the process. Samson in the side, protecting himself, his little corner with mines. We'll go right back to farming here as Awakening with that Battle Fury is going to try to pull back some advantage into this game. Holding the highest net worth is Palare, but Awakening could be catching up very soon. 1,000 gold isn't a whole lot to an anti-mage. I can see him farming that in 2 minutes. As I mean, again, that's about a 500 GPM, not a very hard benchmark for an anti-mage to hit, but right now his positioning on the map is not safe to farm. So he'll have to back off, and while the other side of the map is being farmed by his lone druid and the enemy's jungle is rather clear, looks like if he wants to farm, he's going to have to find a free lane to do so, and even that is a feat in and of itself. So this is going back to the changes to the jungle. There are less creeps for him to farm. The less creeps means less last hits, less gold income. As dying, oh no, almost telekinesis out, and gets the kill with a Scoochie. So 64 is making some flashy plays, though he hasn't really been the perfect Rubik player this game. He certainly has had some very keen moments that I'm sure he'll look back to in this game. But speaking of non-perfect, he's being chased down now by a Timber Saw. Scoochie's low cooldown though, so Taka-san is going to end up spending a lot of his mana for this chase that probably won't be very fruitful. The Scoochie comes out, drops in with the Chakram, but it's not quite enough just yet. The Desolator out for Reza with the EMP. There is a vacuum to pull Fereza back. 2 hits from the Geminate, and Palare gets the kill onto Fereza. Now they'll chase in. The Lone Druid's Bear gets brought down, and Fereza, well, he'll find LP Lord. His bear dies, and now it's his turn. They just need to get some vision onto him, but he's so damn fast. And with the phase boots moving faster than 522 move speed, that is a very, very quick Lone Druid. Samson waiting in the wings. Taka-san actually, LP Lord could be in a bit of trouble here. He's still being scouted out by creeps. Moving through the jungle, trying for that TP scroll now, and no vacuum to stop it. So has sufficiently wasted the enemy's time. Meanwhile, the anti-mage going in for the Vanguard. So that'll tank him up a bit, allow him to fight. Still think he needs maybe a Manta style before he ends up thinking about fighting in and of itself, but he certainly can hold his own, especially now. The Weaver still does a lot of damage, but won't easily clean up the anti-mage like he has been. Might try, but continuing to Scoochie in is a dangerous place to be when the anti-mage can burn your mana and turn that one around very fast. So Taka-san and Twist are pushing the bottom lane. Not the fastest pushers, but they have a lot of creeps and plenty of ways to clear out creep waves. LP Lord, meanwhile, is going to be there, keeping the creep waves down. With that, Maelstrom is doing a whole lot of damage and almost has a Mjolnir here, so actually pull out the Hyperstone from the Courier, but he's got to be careful. Palare is close. And yeah, he'll buy the Hyperstone, and now it's only a couple hundred gold away from that recipe, and then a fresh, shiny Mjolnir. And that'll be perfect for delaying this game. I mean, pushing into a Mjolnir is one of the harder things to do in Dota. This Palare, it could have him locked down, but and just man. This is tough. There is going to be Samson getting a kill across the map. Is it 2 mines? Probably. I'd be willing to stake a bit on that. It looks like plenty of remote mines are down for the next person to be unlucky enough to walk over them. Only 4. Where was that? Oh God. Palare goes down 1,000 gold to the techies. Now telekinesis puts him right on top of the mines, but again, it's only 4, not quite enough to bring down the Timber Saw. But Samson now, lots and lots of gold for him. He'll be working in for that Aghanim Scepter. Meanwhile, a root down onto the Timber Saw gets caught from the very trees that he Timber Chains to, as Techie is hiding them adequately inside. You know, get chased down. The telekinesis, they need the root. They get the root. He'll self-deny. Not quite enough damage coming in. But now Deny is down for 300 seconds. And the Chargers are now down to 12. So not quite struggling as much as the Techies, who has about 5 or 6 charges. But still, bit of trouble here as far as his snowball nature goes. So Samson will continue throwing remote mines inside of the Roach Pit, waiting for the enemy to decide they want the big man, they want the Aegis of Mortality. And they don't really have vision of him doing this either, so at the moment, all they know is that the Techies isn't revealed on the map. They have no idea where he is or where the mines he's placing are going, but let's just see if this works out for him. We've got a Telekinesis, a Sunstrike, not nearly needed, as LP Lord and 64 are good enough, their damage output high enough to bring in that kill. The Wind Ranger with a Blink Dagger and looks to be going for a Mjolnir as well before the Aghanim Scepter actually grabs just the Maelstrom and is now building in for the Ags as the Anti-Mage pulling out a Vladimir for some extra survivability, but not quite the fight he needs just yet. So he'll continue farming through and keeping his net worth as high as possible. He has now grabbed the top slot in the game. But they've got to be careful not to make him fight, and he's got to be careful not to try to force a fight until either it's one that's a for sure win, someone gets out of position, you can blow him up, or the Anti-Mage gets another item. Because again, if he tries to fight too early, he is still a very, very easy target to focus and bring down. Now, of course, if they are able to, or if he is able to get his blink off, then yeah, he's as good as alive. But I'm talking Malefices, Black Holes are very good at locking him down, and the Radiant team are not very good at stopping this immense chasing potential that the Dire have. So, dying. They're going to get him with a Scoochie. They're going to telekinesis him up, and this is a Wind Ranger who could be in a lot of trouble here. There is a Power Ray close by, though. Vacuum back. Awakening is able to get the blink out, but again, this chase, they've got the Gemini attack, and that is enough to bring down the Anti-Mage. Meanwhile, 64 does clean up dying in the back lines. Not a trade that the Radiant want to take at all, and once again, just showing that you really don't want to be trying to force these kind of fights with the Anti-Mage this early. He still needs items, and he still needs to try to farm it. 64 Scoochies up in a short amount of time, but the Timber Chain says no. You're not getting out of this one alive. And now the Geminate, one hit, two. Oh my god, the damage from Palaray between the Medallion of Courage and the Desolator. Way too much to deal with. That. Oh, Samson. Oh, what are we going to do about you? He's got his Aghanim Scepter, by the way. He just needs to get to the point where he can pull it out of the shop. So Dire is starting to knock onto the base of the Radiant. And while Weaver is a good pusher, there is still a little bit too much resistance for him to freely hit the tower. He's got to hold back for now, and this is just buying time still for the Radiant. As what? Guess he's just farming for now. Landmine's pretty decent at cleaning up creep waves. He's actually got the remotes now on an Ancient Pit. So next time the Dire tries to go for their Ancients, they are going to be in for a rude awakening as Palaray now getting dusted. They've got what they need to bring him down, but he'll time-lapse out of this for now. They've got the Fade Bolt. They're going to continue chasing him with a Scoochie of 64 as Fereza gets brought down now. With Takasan close by, the Timber Chain shot, Whirling Death combo. 64 not eating any damage from the Geminate. Blinks out just in time, and 1-1 will try to chase. We're looking at Black Hole being up and ready to go, but it seems not find the good opportunity to use it in that fight. LP Lord, Mjolnir now going in for an Eye of Scotty for some added survivability, added slow. One of those things that you don't get away from the Lone Druid if he starts hitting you. You either kill him or you die. That's about it. He just moves way too fast and slows for way too much. So unless you've got someone who can blink away like a Queen of Pain or an Anti-Mage, Yeah, there's no getting away from that one. Even the Darkseer might be enough with his speed, but there's the courier. Actually, I think gets the ancient camp with it too. So double whammy, a lot of gold. Twist now, moving in for awakening. Stops the blink out with a vacuum. That's about it. LP Lord able to get out of this one, but his bear might not be so lucky. He's trying to move him away. The Savage Roar is out, but with the swarm hitting the bear like that, there's just no way that the bear is going to get away alive. So it looks like Pellerai is going to grab an extra 300 gold, and that'll be that. Lone Druid's going to have to summon another bear. Samson. Where? Okay. Some of these mines just excellently placed by Samson. Doing a really good job at just keeping this game well within control for his team. Even if it seems like the enemy is getting a little out of control for golden experience, they are staying in this one with pure map control. In fact, the Dire, they have fallen behind or the Radiant have fallen behind quite a bit, about 10,000 net worth for the Dire. Experience of 5,000 lead. The boys in red keeping the golden experience, as mentioned, up, but once again, this Techies making sure that any push is met with swift and painful explosions. And this just buys time for the Anti-Mage to farm, LP Lord to farm, Vereza to farm up his items. Though he is going for a Yule Scepter. Good for combos, but not so good for late game team fights. I mean, it keeps his mana within a decent amount. As Samson, how does he get into these weird positions? Maybe he walked around here. I don't know. That's funky. So he'll mine up the other ancient pit. With only 3 mines, I don't know if he can kill anyone that is alive currently. Maybe he... No, he doesn't. Definitely doesn't kill the Wind Ranger. Maybe gets the Dark... So, ooh, who did he blow that up on? He tried getting the Enigma, but too little too late. Perhaps the Enigma was trying to blow them up. In fact, does he have a gem? No, he does not. I wonder where we saw them. There's a stasis trap and a sentry that just barely doesn't catch any of the mines within the vicinity. I like how it looks. That kind of ring. It distorts itself to the terrain, so I think it used to be just a straight up circle, and you'd have to kind of have guesswork as to whether or not it blocked or saw things, but now you know for sure. Because it distorts, it shows the exact circle it is, where it falls on that particular point in terrain. If you were to look at this straight down, it'd be a perfect circle. But, of course, since there is varying levels of elevation, it is not. So 64 with a Haste Rune is going to walk into some very, very troublesome territory. But we'll walk out with his life. Scoochie is trying to bait him back, but gets cleaned up, and the bait was definitely not real. Could have had Takasan and Pellerai underneath these remote mines up on the high ground. There are 5 of them, and each one does a whole lot of damage just because of the Techies Aghanim Scepter. As dying will bring down LP Lord. Was in his bear form, I'm guessing either to give some added move and attack speed with the added ability from the bear form, the battle cry, but going to be a remote mine coming down. Still some respectable damage. And sitting at 16 to 25 now. As we'll see, the Dire mount their first real push in through the middle lane. It's not really accomplishing a whole lot, though. The creep waves are dying in 1 remote mine, and that's about it. That was funny. Alright. The reason I found that funny is because the Weaver started talking, and then the techies started yelling no noises. So now there's one more major mine stack. I guess two more as you've got one in the pit, but that one's running out of time. In fact, kaboom. Oh, they don't blow up when they ran out. Oh, that sucks. So Techies is losing his stack inside the Roche pit. Where's his next endeavor? It looks like he dropped down quite a bit in the mid lane, but those are all landmines. I suppose, yeah, he'll refresh some stacks up here on this high ground around this shrine. A popular gank path that doesn't see much traffic nowadays. I think the Dire are too afraid to move through areas like this, but for now, the Dire have since moved back from their attempted push, and as such will not try for any major buildings just yet. I mean, the only outer tower they can get is the tier 2 top, but again, Techies is keeping one of the major routes into this area sealed off with remote mines. I think he purposely blew those up, actually. Looked like that one of them that died didn't quite have enough time. Plus, they wouldn't have died that fast. There was quite a long cooldown between remote mines. Not long, 10 seconds, but it's long in relative to Techies. Pallery now chasing down the Spirit Bear. A lot of damage coming out. There is a tornado, but it's off the mark. 64. Move up the high ground of his own mines. Damn it. Oh, I totally thought those were going to blow up. Oh, man. Shows you where my head's at right now. Ooh, boy. Akasan and company will now push down the mid lane as a BKB fresh pickup from the Enigma comes through. There is a Scotty from LP Lord. So this defense is going to be very easy, I think, for the Radiant. They just have to hold their position and not get caught out by a 5-man black hole, and they'll be good. Eul Scepter up on for the Timber Saw, but he ends up dying in the meantime. There are a couple of remote mines down, but they don't amount to any kills, and Invoker just dies. That's all that's said and done about that. Spirit Bear comes through. He's got the Scotty out, doing a whole lot of damage. A bit of slow, but mostly it's this Mjolnir coming through. Now it's going to wear off on himself. We saw a little bit coming back as the return damage is there, but 3 are dead now. The Techies almost right back into the fray. A black hole catching a Ghost Sceptered and Rubik. Oh, God. Anti-Mage. Oh, Anti-Mage, meanwhile, bringing down a Rax for his own team. And the Dire, they're not able to get a Rax themselves. Now, they are going to bring down Fereza again. Maybe even get the... lose a Timbersaw in return. Yes, they will. Remote mine from Samson. Gets the kill after a very nicely placed stasis. And Anti-Mage ratting out the top barracks. Comes back. Not going to see any action, but certainly leaving his mark on this game. And maybe they find Palleray here. Looks like they might try to chase him, but he still has a good pristine amount of mana and has time lapse if need be. The bear looking for a root, maybe even a Savage Roar to keep him from casting any spells. Samson, they've got the root on the Weaver. They've got a lot of damage coming through from the Mjolnir and the Scotty. LP Lord gets a little overconfident though and draws his fire off. They're going to Savage Roar the Weaver, but it looks like they're going to try to follow up on it. Meanwhile, Dying goes down to the Anti-Mage who's behind it. In the midst of everything, he's got himself a Basher and Abyssal Blade. Where does all his farm come from? Twist is going to get knocked down. Oh, God. This is one hell of a turnaround. Awakening, he finds Takasan, turns into right-click, and I mean, he takes a little bit of damage in return, but Takasan's going to run very low on mana pretty soon. The Anti-Mage is just blinking around, doing absolutely insane amounts of damage. Though Takasan will come through. There is an Abyssal Blade onto the Weaver, but they ran out of vision of him. Instead, he's got a Lincoln Sphere, so they can't do anything more with the Lincolns. I don't think he has a Mana Void, so it doesn't matter, but the bear will be on the run. And that's it. So a top barracks goes down. The Radiant comes through, kicking and screaming in that fight, able to successfully defend their base. And the Anti-Mage cuts this game wide open and cuts it deep. And Dire are going to have a hard time recovering from this one. It's not going to be impossible, but Awakening sure has become a dominant force. And now 1-1, 10 seconds on that the black hole, but won't be able to find it. The Anti-Mage has since backed off, sending his illusions actually to do some work, keeping the waves pushed out. I mean, the illusions are rather good at it. As an Arcane Rune spawns, this could be very good for the Anti-Mage. It could also be very, very good for the Enigma. And he's got his level 2 perk. Went for the 120 gold per minute. I mean, sure. We're talking about a 140 cooldown black hole versus a 160, all for 120 GPM, but it does get him the BKB and the Aghanim Scepter, so I suppose I see its worth. And a game like this, already now at 3,000 golds, it can go for a Lincoln Sphere. Yeah, okay, 100 GPM can make a huge difference in a game. I mean, that's 1,000 gold every 10 minutes. That just comes out of nowhere. Never gets old. Awakening. I've never seen that before, but it's hilarious. Uses his ultimate just to be able to cast the Abyssal active on Roshan. Alright. Abyssal active doesn't last all that long, but he still gets the Aegis, so no real troubles there. The Radiant, I think, can look to fight and maybe even win the game if they win the fight. Awakening still got the double damage. Will go in now for Takasan. They surge him away. The vacuum back, but Twist is in a bit of trouble here. Needs to be very careful as Palare also taking quite a bit of damage. There's going to be the BKB, the black hole onto 2. They've got the Chakram through. They are going to grab 2 kills off the back of this one, but the Abyssal active onto 1-1. They're trying to bring him down. Awakening taking so much damage from Palare though, and now he's in the middle of 3. Do they have anything to stop this blink away? It looks like they can stun him, but he does get the blink off to the east. Still lots of damage though. They Yules him up. They just need to get a little bit of burst after it. They do the vacuum. No! He's able to blink, but blinks to the north. They've got the bug onto him, so they have track on him whenever they need. He's going to blink up just a tad north and go for the TP and gets it off. Oh god, Palare very close to making that a very, very sad Anti-Mage. But not quite able to get the kill in the end. Meanwhile, Palare! Ah! Oh, God. Oh, Samson. What are you doing, man? That's just unfortunate. Highly, highly unfortunate. Bereza will now grab the Aghanim Scepter. Quite a bit delayed. Yule's Ag is at 42 minutes, but hey, it's something. Something's better than nothing. Nothing's better than the game's already lost. So, you know, by common sense of logic, an Aghanim Scepter at 42 minutes is better than a lost game. Yeah, I know, right? Flawless logic. Anything's better than a lost game. Awakening will hit the tier 2 tower now. It does sizable damage, and no regeneration means that every little swipe is a very big benefit for them, as they've got the Tornado, a Sunstrike off the time, as Awakening now will move in. It looks like goes for the Abyssal active, but it gets popped by the Lincoln Sphere. Now Awakening, Manta styling off the Maledict, as he'll move in for the tier 3 tower with the help of illusions, starts to deal quite a bit of damage. It's 1-1. Where do we stand on Black Hole? 20 seconds. The Radiant, rightfully so, should back off and move in for the tier 2 in the bottom lane, I believe. They've also been neglecting to hit this shrine, as we now have a vacuum wall, but it's not doing a whole lot here. Twist is actually on the run, as Awakening will chase him down for Razor, able to get the Ghost Walk off, and now a Black Hole onto 2, but it's not enough. Onto 1, actually. 64 was the only one to get caught, as turns around, dying, brings him down. Now the Black Hole, actually this is the Black Hole. Where would the original one come from? It was actually 64 to get the black hole before the black hole. Wait. The hell? How long was he holding on to that? There is going to be a shackle, but I just have so many questions. So I was right. 64 does get a black hole on the 2. Because, I mean, I go back and I'm like, wait, Enigma didn't use it. Or, I mean, Enigma used it, and 64 was the only one in the area. So it had to have been on 1. What was I talking about? It wasn't on 2, but I could have sworn I saw 2 heroes caught. Well, because 2 heroes did get caught by a Rubik black hole that must have been stolen 200 seconds, or not 200, like 150 seconds ago when Enigma used it last. And hasn't died since. Sometimes I just don't understand. Speaking of, LD Lord, or LP Lord, goes down in the mid lane, and now the Dire will start to make an attempt, but they don't see the mines, and they get popped early. Oh, Samson. Samson, why? The 4-step forward gets into the root, but he does have a BKB to purge it off, and now lots of Eidolons sitting and right-clicking through 8 demonic Eidolon conversions. But they all go down to 1 remote mine, so it doesn't matter. Dire are actually desperately trying to end this game. Not sure if that's the play here. There are so many other places where you can do some free and unmitigated damage to the enemy team. If you go for the tier 4s, they just regenerate. It's Chakram out, but the ice wall stopping Takasan from moving any further. The shackle catches 2, but the damage not quite enough. They do get the invoker, but 64 is Scoochie stolen. Will back away, and Weaver decides he wants to try to hit the buildings again and gets cleaned up by the mines. Now remote mine on top of Takasan, turns around for a Scythe of Vice onto Samson, gets the kill. The shrine gets popped, hoping to save Samson's life, but not quite enough. Meanwhile, Anti-Mage, what are you doing? Mid lane cleans the racks. This is why it seems like Dire's having an okay time in these fights, is because Anti-Mage doesn't care. He's like, I don't care about my team. I'm just going to go and I'm going to hit your buildings and you're going to be left with nothing. Oh boy, 1 set of racks left on the Dire side of the map, and the Dire can't push. If they push, they ever try to push, this Anti-Mage is going to clean up their base again. Now Yule's up. He'll try to vacuum immediately after to stop the blink, but turns around, goes for the Abyssal Blade, and the Dying. There is a Mana Void, and the Shackle Shot isn't there. Awakening will move forward, but Dying will force-stab himself up into the high ground. Samson's there, looks for some more, and they actually get the Fade Bolt off, and looks like they'll clean up the Shrine now. Maybe LP Lord? Yep, they'll go for it. Anti-Mage will now go, cut some of the creeps, or at least bring his wave back. It's looking very, very hard for the Dire now, as they're left to defend 1 tier 3 tower. The rest of their base has been cleaned. It's one of those moments where now both the Weaver and the Wind Ranger have to have Maelstroms in their inventory. The Wind Ranger's already there, but they have to clear away creeps fast, or else their base just goes overrun. 1-1 with the black hole! Catching the Anti-Mage, they'll bring him down for Razor. Also getting on 64 with the better black hole! Catching 3, is there any follow-up? They've got a remote mine, but it's not quite enough. 1-1 with a triple kill. And now Awakening turns back. He wants this tower, he wants the buildings. 3 are alive in this push. 1 buyback has been spent by the Dire team. It looks like Awakening for now will back off. Just a little bit of extra follow-up damage, and that could have been brutal for the Dire team with the 3 caught in that black hole, but black hole is not quite something that you expect at this point in time, too. If you are the raiding team, I mean, you know that they have a Rubik, so there is the chance that it gets stolen, but just don't think about it. I mean, it's one of those things where Rubik is such a troublesome hero to play against because those spells come out of nowhere. And you know you're supposed to think about it. You're supposed to have that constant in your mind. Does Rubik have spells stolen, and how can we position ourselves to accommodate? But times like that, you pop the black hole. Everyone wants to get on it. We want to go for that power play, clean up everyone in the black hole, and just call it a day. But then the Rubik comes in, you're in trouble. So many Eidolons. This is crazy. Plus conversion. So not only does he convert the extra 8 demonic Eidolons, but each one splits into more Eidolons. So, I mean, we're talking about a potential for... It's 3 originally, so 11, 33 Eidolons. If he refreshers, he can have 66. That's funny. That'd be interesting. Bottom lane, Takasan getting a kill onto Samson, who turns around for Palarai. Takasan, they just need the bash, but they aren't able to find it. LP Lord's there. The damage is real. Another black hole. Wait, he's got a refresher. Can he pop it out? He needs to, but actually, they don't need to. They just get both kills. Oh, boy. This is some shit. Right here. Right here. So we're now nearly traded with Rax. The Radiant are up 1 in the game. Never quite seen what Techies' spells are. 400 blast off damage with 1,000 magical. Imagine what that would be like with a one as a refresher. Black hole out, doesn't catch Fereza, but he can't stop it. Now he's got it, 64, it's there. He steals the black hole again! Refreshed on its timer. 1, very low. Can he turn around and get a kill off this one? It looks like he's a little bit too deep. Now, way too much in trouble, but it gets the Ghost Walk, the Vacuum back, the Moonlight Pulse, the Midnight Pulse. It's not enough. Oh, God. Oh, that was so close. So close, yet so far. Sunstrike off the mark. But it probably wouldn't have killed anyone anyway. We're talking about 537 pure damage on a 700, 800 HP. Maybe it would have been enough because that's 700, 800 after a little bit more of regen with the extra... Oh, does this not give any regen? Guess not. It is built out of a soul booster, which I thought gave regen, but maybe they negate it? No, the soul booster no longer gives regen. When did they change that? The hell? God damn it. I'll wait around, see if they have another pause coming up. Oh, I'll skip through it if we do. Yeah, there we go. So disconnected. I'll hold this up just in case. So Roshan's going the way of the Radiant here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Anti-Mage gonna drop down the Vlads, rightfully so. Someone else should have already bought the Vlads at this point anyway. Looks like not. With Anti-Mage pulling out. There we go. Enigma reconnecting. Vega's mortality. The push is still hard, but not impossible. They just need to not group together and get 5-man Black Hold. Or even 2-man Black Hold. Could be a little bit too much. 64. Doing a great job at stealing, though, so maybe... Does he still have it? He does. 20 seconds. With a blink. And an Aghanim Scepter. I think... Yeah, it should take the current level of Midnight Pulse when he stole the Black Hole. So the Aghanim Scepter should do a metric F-ton of damage. Just looking at a bit of a Mexican standoff here. Both teams are afraid to push. Only one's got the Aegis, though. This is the trouble with a split push lineup. When they have one barracks left, can't exactly split the barracks. They're going to send illusions up. Tier 3 towers do not regen. Those will just kind of eat up the damage. Yeah, see, 3 regen on the tier 4s. Not many people know that nowadays. But after having survived through many mega creep pushes, and by many I mean I've come through 2 in the past couple weeks, which is still more than what should happen. Tier 4 towers, thank God, regenerate HP. Kind of one of those things where if you've ever played a late game Lich, it's brutal winning the game against him when he's got tier 4s up, because he pops armor on them. Any minimal damage you do to them, they'll just regenerate up. And then, of course, he hits like a truck in the late game. And if he can get a Mjolnir out too, there's really no way you can end. He becomes a third and much more powerful tower that can buff up other towers. There is going to be a Mana Void into the active for the Abyssal Blade. The backing back pulls in 2, catches them out. 1 will drop down a black hole, catching 2. The Anti-Mage is gone, but he's got the Aegis Immortality. Now 64 drops a black hole of his own, and they get 2 kills out of the back of it. Palaray, he's hexed, he's caught. Can he get brought down? Awakening does get the kill, a buyback from the Weaver, though the Sunstrike. Oh, the Invoker coming through in the clutch, and the Anti-Mage now looking for the tier 4. They should be able to get it here. Taka-san trying to stop the Anti-Mage, who's not hitting buildings anymore. Just hit the buildings, man. They're looking for the attempt onto the Timbersaw's life, and it looks like he's going to have to get out, though, whether or not he was hitting the buildings. There's way too much control for the Anti-Mage. Meanwhile, on the back line, Samson, too deep. He will go down, and that's it for now. Palaray chasing in further. Awakening's there, just needs a bash. Can he get the bash? It looks like he can. There is a bash to MKB first, and then the Abyssal Blade catches Palaray out. They'll turn around, though, for Awakening. The Boots of Travel onto him, though. Who is it? It's the Enigma. Does have a black hole. He does on Refresher, but it's not going to pop it now. They're looking for Awakening. They'll chase him down. Palaray is running low on mana, though. If God Awakening doesn't have Mana Void, we'll blink into the Roche Pit. And that will be that. The racks are now exposed, but they're not dead yet. Animate will continue to farm up, but what does he buy next? No one knows. Well, I know what he should buy next, is he should get rid of his lads and get a butterfly. But no, he buys a heart. The problem I have with heart is it doesn't exactly help you when you get black hole. Butterfly doesn't either, but at least that gives you damage. The heart does, however, and one thing I can vouch for here is that if you get away, you can easily regenerate up very quickly and then go right back into the fight soon thereafter. It also allows you to tank through most creep right-click. All creep right-click. And all tower damage, pretty much. As long as he doesn't get broken by enemies, so. Heart of Teresk, the better Tranquil Boots. As now the pig getting brought down by the saw, led to the slaughter as Awakening. He moves in through the top, but the Dire, they have his number. They know exactly what the plan is here. Dual Scepter up. One's there with the black hole, but can he pop it? Will he pop it? I think it would have been very worth it there. I mean, he would have buyback, but forcing a buyback on an Anti-Mage and then potentially getting a Refresher black hole on him again, that's game winning. Holding on to it, though, so his own decision there as Anti-Mage in a bit of trouble. He's going to blink out of this one. He's got to clean up this bug, though, so he can get the regen from the heart, but he's getting chased way too quickly. Was that a Diffusal Blade? Palaray got one? Yes. He's going to blink into the trees now. He's got a heart in 2 seconds, but they're going to hit him with a Chakram. Can they get the damage off? Not quite. Oh, boy. Oh, that was way too close for comfort.
Every coin helps.
So yeah, I'd say stash your Battle Fury and grab a Butterfly now. would be my ultimate goal here, or even a BKB could be good. Because while it doesn't exactly help with a stun from the black hole, a BKB helps immensely with the damage. As Samson gets brought down by dying, I'm imagining a shackle, and then the power of the focus fire follow-up, which is still quite potent. Power shot being followed, or being stolen by 64. Wanted to say followed up by, but I had no idea what the follow-up would have been. Sometimes language is hard. 59 minutes. I want to say this is a Techies game, but it hasn't really been the Techies, more so the anti-mage split push. The Techies has certainly helped, but he's been more of a nuker than anything. Like, maybe the same could have been accomplished with something like a Zeus or a Lina, is nuking down like the Techies has been with the mines, but nothing can quite compare in the end. The main story here is that the Anti-Mage has been a marvelous player here. Brings down the Wind Ranger, 120 seconds in the grave. Awakening. Backdoor protection's down. He can go in for this ranged Rax. He probably should go in for this ranged Rax here. Get some damage off to it before the enemy can react, but they now get to the bottom lane. That's the end of that for now. So this team's close by, but the TP's back to defend the bottom lane. Means no use is going to come out of the Sans buyback dead Wind Ranger. I mean, ideally, if Enigma's down without buyback, this game's wide open. But 1-1 has been the glue to keep this team together. The rest of his team, well, they're also glue, but they're more the discount brand. 1-1 has been the gorilla glue. But Vereza now moving through the bottom lane, followed by 64, who has Windrun. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. Awakening with 3350 HP, a very, very tanky anti-mage with quite a bit of armor. Still no use for the Black Hole Midnight Pulse, though. Group up on the Radiant as they move through the bottom lane. The creeps will die before they get to the base. Backdoor protection still goes down as they get in close enough. Swarm being cleared up quite easily. Awakening focused, not dead. Take a lot to kill this guy. Now 1-1. Hold himself a smoke. I think he wants to try to mass a black hole this one. They've got vision for it. They know where they are. But 64 will since revoke that privilege. While Awakening, holding fast off to the side, keeping their attention split. Radiant still positioned though, and one black hole could be all it takes. Awakening seems to get caught a little bit. He's fine for now. Radiant, they're getting antsy. You can see the storm is blowing up. They really want to make this play. They'll send Fear back, or they'll send Taka-san back with a Savage Roar. That's hilarious. I think that's like an homage to Fear. Gives everyone his name tag on top of their hero, but afraid to push. Awakening, he's just itching for this. You can really tell that they want this. They want it bad. I can just be in their position. Like, what do you do? How do you go in? How do you initiate? Well, honestly, the plan is have some way to get them to come out of their base, and if they don't, I don't know. It's such a hard fight to make, but really what you want to do, since they're the ones that are in the defensive position, make sure you all have buyback. Get as many auras / defensive / sustain items you can, and just YOLO into it. Go in, send 4 heroes back to keep their heroes active, and then have the anti-mage or someone hit their buildings. In fact, yeah, get as many survivable items as possible, and then have someone just build an Necronomicon. Go in, clean up the buildings, and that's it. If they all kill you, you've megaed them, and you all have buyback. Like, there are many creeps on the map. This is about 1,000 net worth that's just sitting on the map ready to be taken every 2 minutes, and they're ignoring it to try for the siege that's not quite working. So, yeah, if I were to make a suggestion, that's what I would do, is just try to play a diversion game. Try to play a one-lane split push, is what I'm going to coin the term. The one-lane split push. YOLO everyone in, and have someone hit the buildings. It's kind of when you wish you had someone like a Terrorblade who could just annihilate buildings incredibly quickly. All those Eidolons. So quick to come into this world and so fast to be cleaned up. I hope Anti-Mage drops the Battle Fury, honestly. I mean, his pushing power is great, and that's why I think the Battle Fury needs to stay in his stash. But honestly, when you're fighting people, it's not necessary. And really, it can actually end up being a liability more than anything in the late game. You want to have some extra oomph in your step, and filling that with the Battle Fury is just not smart. So he will end up putting that in his inventory, which is good. Never sell it. You never know when you might need it, whether it be quickly pushing out a lane or otherwise. But yeah, he doesn't two-shot waves, but he still pushes at a decent speed, and now he's got an extra life. This is it. Great diversion tactic with the Anti-Mage, and I don't know, have the Lone Druid hit the base or something. YOLO, dude. Just YOLO in. Come on, you gotta blink. Gotta blink. You know where someone is, right? Yep, the bear's giving you vision. Just go for it, dude. He's gonna go for it, but immediately gets hexed, which is alright. He's got the Aegis Immortality. 1-1's there. Pops the Manta, goes in for the Enigma, keeping him back. He can't blink. He's got to BKB soon, though. They've got the Deafening Blast, but it's not gonna quite give them their opening. They're just playing it so scared and so cautiously. The Aegis Immortality survives, though, which is quite honestly the most surprising thing about that fight. He goes in for dying now. Who is most likely dying here? Does have buyback, though, and will probably spend it very soon. Meanwhile, the rest of the Dire are now outside their base, chasing down. This does give Awakening the opportunity to start hitting the bases. The Black Hole, though, is going to catch him. They need to do something, but 64, he steals the Black Hole, and that sends the Enigma to the grave. Has the buyback ready, though. The Aegis Immortality does get popped by Awakening. Immediate Hex. They've got another Black Hole from one. No, yes, they do. They're not going to spend it, though. He does end up dying. And they don't get the racks. But the Mines, oh boy, the Mines got the Weaver. And Fereza does get hit by that Black Hole. 64 does go down. Anti-Mage will buy back and head in towards the middle lane. In fact, everyone else has buyback. Sans Weaver dying is now going to move in back to his base. He does not have buyback. The Weaver doesn't have it as well. So if they can get dying down, there's no Black Hole ready to go, but it looks like the Radiant are just going to hold on. No, they buy back the Lone Druid. They're going to buy back everyone. They move in. They're making their move. Awakening is now in the top lane. Just go. Clean up the Megas, dude. You spent everyone on buyback. No, he's going to go for Twist for now, but Taka-san's got the Sight the Vice. Might chase him, but that would be a very, very bad thing to do at this point. They're going to go in for dying. They might clean him up here. In fact, it looks like they most certainly will get this kill. Dying is down. No buyback. 120 seconds. It's now a 5 for 3. The buybacks are short coming here as Awakening now goes in for the racks and gets it. Last one down. The Mega Creeps have spawned. Remember, no buyback if they all go down here. This is the end, but it looks like there is no such luck for the Radiant team. They're going to lose their Timbersaw for the first time. 18 charges still on the Tree Man. So if he dies again, he's down for about 25 to 30 seconds, I think. Probably more than that, but they're having a hard time killing him. They Mana Void him at full HP. It looks like they're able to bring him back. There's the Vacuum Wall. Can they get this? They do. 50 seconds on the Timbersaw with no buyback. Techies does have one of his own, though. Meanwhile, Awakening moves in for the towers, and it looks like that is it. GG, well played has been called, so now we just wait for the buildings to go down or for the Enigma to make a YOLO play. 15 seconds. Can he buy time? It looks like not. So, Ancient falls, and that is GG. So, gotta hand to you guys. If you've watched this entire thing, you deserve a cookie. This was a fun one, I think, but it's over. Looks like the split push anti-mage and the techies have reigned supreme at the kill disadvantage, too. Rather surprising, but regardless, very fun game. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Catch you all for the next replay.